An Evening at the Movies is a proud member of the I Did Not Make These Rankings podcast network. Other shows in the network include Mass Debaters, The Sip List, Crushgasm, Love is Black, Men Are the Prize, Crime Rewind, and Literature Rebrews. You can find out all about our shows and more at idnmtrpodcastnetwork.com. Happy listening. You are now entering the world of a movie review. A world full of drama, joy, ridicule, movie spoilers, unpopular opinions, and adult humor for as far as the eye can see. Welcome to An Evening at the Movies.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to your favorite movie review podcast. This is An Evening at the Movies. I am one of your amazing hosts as well. But I would also like to remind everybody that also a part of the I Did Not Make These Ranking podcast network is Toontastic Journeys as well. We just haven't had the time to add that into the network intro for the show yet.
My bad.
So you well, I mean, it is my co-host bad, but
Fair.
we won't falter for that. But you can also check out Toontastic Journeys as well for all of your, and it can be found on. Well, you heard the whole spiel, so. But we are here. We are back. We are recording. We are live. It feels like for the first time we're doing a live in a while, but we are here. Welcome back, co-host.
Thanks. So, Kasey's choking to death. So, yeah, it's I feel like we just recorded something. Oh yeah, we did. Dead Poets Society. I was like, what did we just record? So yeah.
We talked about recasting it too.
Yeah. Are you dying?
Mm-hmm.
Do I need to host the show again?
Possibly if it keeps going. But
I'm here. I'm hoping this will cheer me up. I'm not in the greatest of moods and haven't been feeling good today, and just out a bunch of money and depressed about it, and it just sucks. So I'm ready to be cheered up and talk about some cool stuff.
well, I mean, we're going to talk about some cool stuff. We're going to talk about some cars. We're going to talk about one of your
Fine ass men.
early adulthood crushes. But before we can do all of that, we are joined on this episode by Senior Birthday Boy himself, Josh. Welcome back, buddy.
Hey, it's been way too long. I'm excited to be back on another episode of An Evening at the Movies. And what a better day to do it than my birthday. So, super
True
stoked.
story.
Talk about my favorite movies, The Fast and the Furious, and ready to have some good times. Talking about the good, the bad, and everything in between.
Well, I mean, there is a little bit of all of that.
Oh,
in this
absolutely.
movie.
Absolutely.
But I digress.
Well,
we will get into that into the
Before
episode.
we do that, oh sorry. Well, before we do that,
You
I
have
have
something you would like to
to.
do?
Yes, you know what I would like to do.
As long as you don't
Oh, well, it's not
play
a birthday episode
you
if I
do
don't
it yourself.
serenade the birthday person. I'm
Well, exactly. Just
not
don't play it.
I,
Sing it
how many times are you gonna bring that up?
every
I'm
damn
gonna
time.
sing it, and because I suck at singing, it's like somebody's banging a bag of cash against the wall. They'll never copyright this. Okay, happy birthday, Josh. Ba-na-na-na-na-na, you say it's your birthday. Ba-na-na-na-na-na, it's my birthday too, yeah. Ba-na-na-na-na-na, you say it's your birthday. Ba-na-na-na-na-na, gonna have a good time. I'm glad it's your
Yeah.
birthday. Ba-na-na-na-na-na, happy birthday to ya. Okay, there you go.
Thank
Happy
you. That's the
birthday.
second birthday serenade I've gotten today. And you know what? I like that.
Nice.
I like that. I'm about to have to serenade some people on their birthdays. Hopefully they take it as a gift and not a curse. But you know,
Well,
it's
Such a
all
good
good
birthday.
fun.
luckily,
I like it.
luckily for me, my birthday's still a long ways away.
I'm about to do something special for you, Kasey.
Oh dear God, I'm
Mine's
afraid.
in December. Be afraid.
So I don't
In
know.
December.
we'll see.
So, as the
I got
birthday boy
reminded
said,
again at the doctor the other day. Oh, are we on a delay? I'm sorry.
probably. What were you saying about the doctor today?
Well, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to talk over you. I feel like I'm delayed or
No,
you're
no,
delayed.
you're fine.
Yeah,
No,
for it.
I got reminded the other day at the doctor. I got reminded at my last physical, which was before I turned 45, and then this was a different appointment. And she was like, "Have you had your colonoscopy yet?" And I was like, "No, I don't want it." And she was like, "Well, you're 45. You got to go have one." And I'm like, "Fuck." And I was like, I just haven't researched it or whatever." And she goes, "Well, does your husband have a doctor he recommends?" And I was like, "My husband's younger than me, so no."
Hi, Pearl.
He'll be going to who I recommend.
Right.
Pearl says happy birthday as well.
I know I got a few more years before I hit that stage where I gotta worry about
I, I mean, like we got
that.
mammograms to deal with. Now we got to do a colonoscopies. Fuck that shit. I really don't want to do it, but I guess you have to.
Just find somebody with,
Yeah.
with, with small fingers and you'll be okay.
No,
No,
colonoscopy is a
no, I'm thinking
whole
of a prostate exam.
camera. You're thinking of a
Colonoscopy,
prostate
that's
exam.
like the whole Borg, like
Colonoscopy, they put
typical.
you out for it. It's like a camera that goes all up in there.
Damn.
I don't care what the hell it is. I'm not looking forward to having it done. And the fact that I have a doctor's appointment coming up on Wednesday,
You haven't had
I'm
one yet, Casey?
no.
Okay, but we're
Gotta
not
get
going
it
to go
done.
into we're not going to go into this, but I am going to say for anybody listening, men and women, but especially men, if you're the colonoscopy age, you need to be having them. Colon cancer kills a lot of men, and but by the time they catch it, it's usually very
Too late.
advanced. So
Absolutely.
take care of your gut. All right.
Yeah, yeah. Gotta get that shit checked out. It ain't fun, but hey, they put you out. Just have them put you out.
Yeah.
You know, could be worse.
Yeah. You could have to get the things women have to get with no anesthesia at all, so I don't feel sorry for you.
Look, look, look. Have a little bit of something in your butt for a while you knocked out, or wear a colonoscopy bag. What sounds better? You
Yeah,
know?
exactly. Or I have colon cancer. So
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
get your shit checked out, literally.
Literally.
This is your PSA from an evening at the movies. You're welcome.
There we go. All right now.
The previous message was fully endorsed by everybody here on an evening at the movies. With all of that said, though, um, we're here to celebrate the birthday boy and talk about one of his favorite movies, The Fast and the Furious.
Not to be
So
confused with Fast and Furious or Faster and Furious or Too Fast Furiously. Yeah.
they done
Or the
fucked up the
Furious Eight.
title.
Fast Five.
They
No, no,
totally
no,
fucked
no.
up the
It's
Drift.
not
damn.
Furious Eight. It's Fast Five, Furious Seven, and then Fate of the Furious. There we go. Too Fast, Too Furious, and then Fast in the Furious. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I
none of them
mean,
are still
And
as
there's
fucked
just
up as
Fast and Furious.
Tokyo Drift.
Just one, I think.
uh, what's
Which
that?
one is Fast and Furious? I think Fast and
That's
Furious
number
is
four.
4.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
That's where they
The
got the
one,
franchise back on track.
Yeah.
yeah, it's the one where
After
Vin
that
Diesel came back.
nightmare that was Tokyo Drift.
No, see, I don't hate Tokyo Drift. Like, I
Eh,
find it as a standalone movie. Like, the drifting scenes were fantastic. Now, was the acting
okay.
great? No,
No,
not at all. Was it a traditional Fast and the Furious movie? Yes, because they tied it in, but not really. I get why people hate on it, but I like the drifting, and the drifting was cool. Like, if they had called it Initial D the movie and followed that storyline a little better, people would have loved it.
Maybe it's like Halloween 3. They shouldn't have called it Fast and the Furious. They should have just called it Tokyo Drift.
I feel what you're saying, but the one, and it might be the reason why I give it a little bit of leeway, is because they kept that going. They made that Tokyo Drift, and Vin Diesel was kind of desperate. They were able to add that little thing at the end. Because of that, we got Fast and the Furious, and it got the franchise back to where it was. Because
Yeah.
I don't think the franchise would have continued after Tokyo Drift if it
Mm-mm.
had been somewhat successful.
I'm surprised it did.
Right, right. Well, they continued in an amazing way, which we'll get into, and hopefully it won't take a whole nother year before we do number two. But if it does, we're definitely doing next year about this time, y'all.
Yeah.
Cause
Well, I promised we'd go through the whole franchise.
yeah, I'm totally down to do it too.
People may people may not like what I have to say once we start getting past a certain point in the franchise, but we'll get through it.
And that's all right. It's okay to have opposing views, man.
Exactly. So, for anybody that needs to know, though, Fast and the Furious released on June 22nd, 2001. It was directed by Rob Cohen, was released by Universal Pictures, had a budget of $38 million. And who would like to try and take a guess at what their box office was?
How much was the budget?
38.
I'm gonna guess somewhere around the 150 area.
Ooh, I was gonna guess like two. Well, wait, the first one. I'm gonna say 200 million.
Hmm. Okay, you can get off of your lucky streak that you're on right now, co-host.
Shut up.
$207 million.
Oh, okay. So we split the difference kind of in between the two of us.
207.3.
I promise you guys, I'm not googling this shit. We'll see how
No,
I do on Rotten Tomatoes score because I've been killing that lately too.
I would have guessed a little higher, but I was like, it's early. People weren't going
Yeah.
that much. But I forget people went a lot more than they started going later because it's back when movies were somewhat still affordable, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was shortly after this that movie prices started getting up into the $10 a ticket. Hi, Pearl.
No. Okay. And it had decent star power, to be fair.
Well, I mean, but
Yeah.
did it? Because here's the thing
Hey,
it does if you look at it now, but when this came out, people didn't really know who Michelle Rodriguez were.
Paul Walker, though.
Nobody really knew who dominant or who Vin Diesel was, and people kind of knew Paul Walker,
Paul
but
Walker was
this
popular, and then
movie is considered a breakout role for Paul Walker because he was
yeah,
popular before then. He had did the Skulls, you know, which is
Varsity
part of why he
Blues.
actually ended up in this movie.
Yeah,
Um, you know, but he hadn't done much. Vin Diesel really hadn't did a lot, and he even had to consider being part of this movie because he was a very serious actor. And my Michelle
clearly.
Rodriguez, I mean, this was kind of the role where people start really like, oh man, who's that? Even though this
Do
role,
not
like,
like her.
she doesn't really do much in this movie. I mean, she has one of the most atrocious lines in the movie. You know, talking about
What?
some, I smell skank.
I smell
It's like
skanks.
I cringe every time she says
Because she was like, I smell skanks.
that. But yeah, no, in this
She's like, let's
movie,
go
the
get me drunk or
way
something like that.
it came about is like the coolest little story and the weirdest little story. You know, being based on an article from oh, I forget what it was. It was I want to say Vibe. Yeah, it was Vibe magazine. It was based on an article called Racer X that was written by Ken Lee. That he, you know, wrote about the underground racing scene in New York.
Yeah.
You know, and then Rob Cohan, after working with Walker, was like, let's do an action movie together. Do you have any ideas? And he's
Mhm.
the one who suggested doing something that was like a mix of a undercover cop movie with like Days of Thunder. And it all kind of came together into what we now know as the Fast and Furious.
Okay, well, I'm going to say that when the trailers first came out, I was actually very against it because I was like, I saw this movie already. It was called Point Break, and you can't do it better than that. I mean, you can't top Patrick Swayze and Keanu Reeves. Yeah, it's with race cars instead of surfers, but it's the same goddamn movie. Like, um,
No,
but
I
it's
mean it
not. It's not. But that's what I was
is.
going into it. I'm like, I already saw this movie. How's it gonna be better or different?
Now, see, for me, it was in the days where trailers like they weren't as prevalent as now. So if you didn't happen to catch it on TV or see it fully, you didn't necessarily see it unless you saw it at the theaters.
Right.
So going into it, I just thought it was about racing. I did not know it had the whole undercover cop thing until they arrested him, and then they
Right.
like he was like, "Why are these cuffs so tight?" I was like, "Oh shit, he's an undercover cop," which I love undercover cop movies. I used to love the show New York Undercover. I love In Too
Hmm.
Deep. So like it immediately jumped from a 7 to like a 9 for me at that point.
Nice.
I was just like, oh shit.
It was revealed in the trailer because I remember seeing the trailer at the theater. I can't remember what movie I was watching, but I
Mhm.
remember seeing at the theater going, "Sounds like Point Break."
I believe it. I believe it. I just didn't watch trailers like I do now, which was
Well,
nice because certain movies, like going in without like knowing, like Matrix blew my mind watching that one because I didn't know shit about the Matrix even after
I
watching the
still
trailer.
don't know shit about the Matrix. The trailer didn't tell you shit about it either. So it's like,
That was the greatest part because you went in just with no expectations.
You
But
could
I
have seen
digress.
half.
We'll talk about Fast and Furious, not the
You could
Matrix.
have seen half the damn trailer, or you could have seen half the damn movie for the fucking Matrix trailer and still not know what the hell it was about.
True. That is very damn true. And some people left the theater
So
still not knowing what the movie
yeah,
was about.
some people have watched 8 fucking Matrix movies or however many movies there are and still don't know what the hell it's about.
There's three. There are three Matrix movies. That's all that exist.
that's
Didn't they
not
do it?
true.
Didn't
Yes,
they
it is.
do? Didn't they do a new one that came
There's
out
three, and then they
like
did a
a
What are
new
you
year
one.
talking
ago?
about? I have no idea about this new movie that really sucked terribly, and I've wiped it from my memory because it was just terrible.
Oh, I'm like, wait a minute. How
I
did
was
you
like, that's not
not
accurate.
It
hear
does not
about
exist for me.
the fourth? I know good and hell well fourth movie came out.
I heard it was a good love story.
I mean, look,
My hair.
was it just crap? No, there was some good stuff, and the graphics were okay, but I could have lived without them making that movie.
I could have lived with all of them without all of them, but the first one, and really the first one was like a. I think I've watched it twice, and then one time I went. So when I was in college, my boyfriend was in a fraternity, and we drove from Oklahoma City to Dallas on a bus, for like a formal party and like a weekend whatever thing. They had the Matrix play the entire way down there and the entire way back in the bus, and I was just like, "Can we turn this off?"
Oh, that's the worst way to watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I had already seen it. I still want to see it again.
You did an episode already on the Matrix, right, Casey? Or no?
No, no, no.
Okay, when you do it, I want to come on because my second favorite movie, maybe my first, right there with Fast and Furious, is The Matrix.
Interesting.
I could
Okay.
talk that all day.
So climbing out of that rabbit hole,
Right.
um, what would everybody like to wager a guess as to what the Rotten Tomato score for the OG Fast and the Furious is?
Before I wager my guess, are we talking critic score or fan score?
Audience.
Audience score, yeah.
Critics. I could go back out and get the audience score, but
If we're doing
it's
critic
all
score, I'm guessing it's going to be low. I'm guessing somewhere in the 30s, like 35, 33, 30, somewhere around there.
co-host.
Okay, before I guess, did you make sure that the post of the show was public so people could comment? We're not seeing comments, and I thought people were watching or something, so I just wanted to double check. Um,
I know I share from my stream, but I'm not sure if it's streaming live from you guys.
well, Casey has to make it public, or people the comments won't show up. People can watch it, but the comments won't show
Ah.
up. Um, for
Well,
the
no, nobody's commented anyway, but
oh, okay. Well, nobody loves us. Okay, that's good to know.
It's a
there's
Monday.
people. There's people watching.
I am gonna say I feel like 61 feels like a good number.
You're closer than Josh
I'm going way higher than
was.
Josh.
You saying I should have had a little more faith?
54%.
Okay.
That's better than I thought. Normally, the critic scores on stuff be really low. Sometimes I like.
Yeah. Can
So
you guys? Sorry. Can you guys hear that noise?
a little bit.
Is
Yeah,
it
it sounds
bad?
like somebody walking around or a fan or
Okay.
something. I
It's
didn't notice until you mentioned it.
okay. If it gets
Yeah.
annoying, tell me. It's Pearl's automatic cat toy. I'm doing everything I can to keep her from terrorizing our house. It's not working, but it helps a little bit.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't notice until you mentioned it.
I can go and plug it
Yeah.
from the wall, but then I have to get
And
up,
neither did I.
and everything's in my lap. Okay.
Well, that's better than I thought it would be. What's the audience score?
I would say it's in the 80s, high
Yeah, I'm
70s,
thinking
low
it's somewhere up
80s.
there.
The audience score is 74%.
There you go.
Not bad at all.
So, while I flip this over and adjust the settings, would you like to run down the plot really quick, co-host?
I sure would. Okay, Fast and the Furious. Dominic Toretto enjoys the adrenaline of streetcar racing and his fans treat him like a rock star. After a blazing encounter with the ruthless and fucking hot Johnny Tran, Dom decides to take Brian, a newcomer to street racing, under his wing. Dom's sister Mia sees something she likes in Brian too. Yes, she did. The trouble is, neither of them realize he's an undercover cop, and Dominic and his rival Johnny are both the prime suspects in a case involving dirty money and big rig hijacking. Yeah, Johnny Tran's an evil dick, but he is so hot. Especially when he's wearing that wife beater at Race Wars. I'm like, sorry.
Yo, that's hilarious.
You mean when he raced Jesse for Pinks?
Yeah.
Jesse.
And they got his butt mollywopped by Vin for calling him a snitch.
Yeah. Not ready to talk about Jesse yet.
Spoiler alerts. But
I
This
mean,
movie
the
came out
movie
like
came
30
out in
years ago.
2001, so I feel like if you haven't
God, it was
seen it by
23.
now and you clicked on this, I'm thankful that you're supporting us by watching. But
Yes.
right?
no, there's gonna be spoilers, even though we didn't warn you. I mean, I feel like we shouldn't have to. If
The
you really need
warning
to,
is
pause it, go watch it, and then come back and watch this.
the warning is in the intro. I don't feel sorry for anyone.
Well, I mean, yeah, Amanda does do a good job at stating that in the intro. But I mean,
Not my fault if you don't listen.
if it's outside of a year old, I don't think spoiler alert necessarily needs to be thrown out there.
Right.
Oh, that looks a lot better.
Question.
So,
It is not
yes.
really important, but on the countdown that says live, are the letters looking weird for either of you? 'Cause I haven't eaten no gummies or anything, but it looks like some of the letters are a different language. I don't know. Maybe it's just tripping on my end, but
I think you probably had a little bit of too many gummies with your sandwich the other day for your birthday.
maybe that was it. Maybe that was it. I don't know. We'll see. I haven't smoked yet. I might before I go to Fogo. I'm going to Fogo for dinner for my birthday, so
Well
or
then,
as our friend Shanna likes to call it, meat orgy. Or maybe that was Amanda saying that's what George calls it, but I've never heard it called meat orgy before.
Yeah, that's his favorite thing to say. Meat orgy about those places.
that was the confusing part because I know I literally just posted the link in the group chat, but
Mhm.
Sorry.
Shannon was looking
Okay.
forward to talking shit to the birthday boy on his episode.
Yeah, I'm surprised her and CJ both ain't in here talking crap. Oh, your attachment says attachment unavailable for some reason.
Oh my god, let me do it. Start talking about the movie.
Okay, you fucking do it. So,
Uh, so
I'm
a
gonna
couple,
let the birthday boy go first, but obviously, as everybody knows, we always start the discussion out with, um, what about the movie was it that really reeled you in? So,
what
the
about
floor
it?
is
Reeled
yours,
me
birthday
in.
boy. Yeah.
It's funny because it wasn't the cars. I've never been a car guy, mostly because living in the city with really good public transit and not having a lot of money growing up, I didn't have a car. Matter of fact, I did not get my license till I was in my 20s. And I
Whoa!
did not get my first car till I was about 27, 28. And so, I went a long time without driving. If I had my license, I'm glad. And honestly, I'm kind of glad because I would have acted a fool after watching this movie. I would have
So
been drifting and
Yep.
driving fast as hell and trying to street race mofos.
true, and I'm assuming also that you grew up in the Portland area.
I
Am I
did. I grew
correct?
up in the Portland metro area with
So
TriMet on every street, basically.
I was gonna say I can't necessarily speak about elsewhere in the country, but I know from personal experience if you live in like the major Portland metro area, you really don't need a fucking car to get around from point A to point B
Oh
at
no.
all.
And I had been taking public transit since I was like 9 or 8, like sooner than that, but on my own since I was like 9 or 8 to go meet friends at the local mall or go downtown to meet people. And so, yeah, I mean, you could pretty much get anywhere you wanted within the city, even the outskirts. It might take you 2 hours, but you
I was gonna
could. So
say
I never had need for it. And it wasn't like we could really afford it at the time. We didn't have a ton of money. We weren't broke, but we weren't balling enough to have like more than one car, let alone pay two car insurances. And I didn't work. So, like, yeah, um, didn't have one until I finally needed one when I moved out to the suburbs and was like,
even most of the suburbs though, you can still reach on the max.
you sure can. Yeah.
So
But yeah, no, honestly, I like Paul Walker. He was a great actor. I'd seen him in a couple things. He was pretty cool and just looked cool. Like, even though I didn't have a car, I grew up playing like, Midnight Club and all the different race car games. And I was just like, man, that looks cool. I liked Gone in 60 Seconds.
Hmm.
I liked all those car movies that came before. And I was like, this looks really neat. And the movie hooked you in from that opening scene where you see them in their Honda Civics with the green undercarriage, and they're doing these cool little coordinated maneuvers and surrounding this truck and doing this robbery, and it's
mhm.
just like, oh damn, what's going on?
That was
So
intense.
it was, and then like I said, I missed somehow that it was an undercover cop story, but once I found out it was an undercover cop thing too, I was like reeled in. Um, in high school, I actually was part of the first ever integrated, like where it was integrated into the high school police academy that they had in
Oh.
Portland. Yeah, because I wanted to be a police officer. Unfortunately, Portland being Portland, it only lasted for a year and then they didn't have the budget and they cut the program.
No,
But
that
to
sucks.
this day, I still have on my class ring a shield, badge, and gun. Um, because I was
Ooh.
in that academy. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be a police officer. And then I was like, oh, it's not like it is in movies. So I
Yeah.
decided not to be a police officer. Uh, and
It's
I'm
not
glad
like
I
it
made that
was
choice.
Steve. It's not like it was with Steve Gutenberg.
No.
Right.
So, what reeled you into the movie besides the hotness that is Paul Walker?
Paul Walker. I mean, and the fact that I had a boyfriend that wanted to go see it. I mean, I thought it looked interesting, and I think I played car racing games too. And I thought they were cool, but
Mario
yeah, it
Kart.
was really just like Paul Walker. Okay, sign me up. Um, I remember exactly where I was when I heard that he died, and I that was like one of
Mm.
the him and Heath Ledger were like some of the first celebrity deaths that really made me cry. Like so young and so talented, and they have kids and stuff. And it's just like, damn. And I hate to think of anybody being killed in a car accident. Like that really bothers me. When I don't want to think about it because I can't imagine how like traumatizing and scary and whatever that must be. Like it just makes me really sad.
Yeah, I was super bummed out. Like it was hard. I even believed it at first. I was like, this is
I
a
didn't
joke.
either.
Like this can't be real. And it took me a long time to come to acceptance with it. And I didn't even know the guy. I can't even imagine how it was for, his family and all the
Right.
people that he worked with. It sucks to go out that way too in the car accident, but I kind of look at it
Hmm.
as like he loved cars. Like
Yeah.
his Fast and Furious movie thing, like, nah, that was him. He loved racing fast cars. And so it's kind of like, okay, he died doing what he liked doing, you know.
The way they sent him out in Furious 7, I was like ugly crying, like choking in the movie theater. I told George, I was like, we shouldn't see this in the theater. I'm gonna like cry hard. I think I might have cried harder than I cried at Titanic. It was a beautiful send off to him though, but
Oh, it was fantastic. And that song, like I
oh,
still can't hear that song until I see you again
that
without being like a
tell
little
you
choked up.
wrong about it. No, stop. Anyway, um,
Hashtag
yeah,
Amanda will be coming back for Fast 7.
yeah, I will. I mean, I will say I cried as soon as the movie started because I knew that he
Hmm.
was gone and I knew what was coming. I didn't know that they had made his brother a stand-in, and I thought that was really cool. With that ending scene. But
Right.
anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about.
No,
No,
you know
we're
what? It's
about
interesting.
6 movies far enough down the road. We'll
Just a
reel
real
it
quick
back into the
aside
original.
to that scene with his brother. I'm a huge fan. My mom is an even bigger fan. My mom loves this franchise to the point where when she sees that scene, she originally was telling people, she's like, "Oh, that's not Paul, that's his brother." They're like, "How can you even tell?" She's like, "The hairline, it's different." And I'm like, "You watch that movie too much."
He's
But
taller
she's that
too,
big of a
I
fan.
think.
He is, yeah.
But trust me, I have studied the figure and face of Paul Walker extensively.
Well, and that's the other thing. Like, I had like a man crush on Paul Walker because he just all his movies I liked, even
Hmm.
Skulls. Brick Mansions was awesome for like being that parkour type of action flick that it was trying to be. There was just
Parkour.
something about his stuff. Like anytime I saw him, even that one with the police car. I can't think of the name of it right now, but he ends up. I forget what he's still the police car. It's been a long time since I saw it, but
He's so cute in Varsity Blues. He's playing all American charm. I mean, he doesn't have a huge part, but he's just so like, ugh. And yeah, he was good in the Skulls, and those are like the teeny bopper movies or whatever. But yeah, I mean, these movies, as cheesy as like you think they are, and then especially as cheesy as they get, like I'm not gonna lie, I can't with the Hobbs and Shaw stuff. I really wish. I'm gonna say this, and you're gonna hate me. I really wish they would stop making these movies. I feel like they're driving the core of the franchise into the ground because the core of this is the core family, and it's like it doesn't have the same heart, in my opinion, when it doesn't include all of this. And I'm not just talking about Paul Walker because he's not here, but to
the
me,
whole
it's
fast
like
cast. Yeah.
it's just an action adventure movie, which is fine. But one of the things that I love about this movie is the family aspect. You can choose your family, and when that his boss or whatever says to him, "There's all kinds of families." That's a choice you're going to have to make for yourself. And it's like, yeah. I mean, it's cheesy with the whole family shit. I get it with Vin Diesel, but he's not wrong.
No, and
Well,
I agree 100% that that's the core aspect. The nice thing is, I think they're done with the spinoff as far as Hobbs and
Hobbs and
Shaw
Shaw.
go. And this is the last movie officially. I'm sure they'll do another spinoff somewhere down the line, but officially 11's supposed to be the very last movie. Though I'm hearing stories they might do a movie set in between 10 and 11 that has to rock. We'll see. Yeah, I get where you're coming from though. Like, that's one of my favorite things as this franchise evolved from the first movie, and that you see in that first movie is the themes of family.
Yeah.
Found family. And just the theme of loyalty too. Like, I love
Yeah.
the scene
Mm.
towards the end where Brian shows up after everybody's discovered he's a cop, and he's telling him he's like, "Hey, I didn't call the police on you, you guys
Right.
need to go." And Dom's like, "You are the police," and it's
Yeah.
like, dude, like he had reached that, like to me, I love that scene right there. The only scene more I like better in that whole aspect of things comes down the line of four, where he's like, "Are you a good guy pretending to be bad, or are you a bad guy pretending to be good?"
Yeah. And I thought Vin Diesel did a really good job with his facial expressions in the scene with Vince where they find out he's a cop. Like he doesn't have to say anything. I thought, I don't think Vin Diesel's like this fantastic actor by any stretch of the imagination. I think he's cool, but I thought he did a good job. What facially saying what he was feeling in his heart right then.
100%, I agree with you because, like, you have the three people in that scene. You have him, you have Maya, and you have Brian. And just through their eyes and their motions, as he's looking, he can't
Hmm.
believe it. And you can see the rage on his face, and you can see
Hmm.
the look of worry on Brian's face, but he's just trying to call in that help. And then you kind of see
Yeah.
Mia be like, "No, no." And like everybody settles down, like, "Look, we're gonna deal with this first." Yeah, it's actually a very well done scene. Absolutely.
Well, and you see Brian, he's like taking a deep breath, and he makes this like, I can't believe I have to do this, but I have to do this, or this guy's going to die. And you can see it in his face that he feels bad. Like, yeah, that was really good.
Oh yeah.
So I do have a comment, harking back to one of the previous topics from Miss Shanna. River Phoenix was her first hard-hitting celebrity death,
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, I remember that too. I couldn't believe that.
and
He was like our
for
age. I'm
those of
little.
you, yeah, well, and just because I know there's like 20 plus people watching right now, if you guys want to comment along on the posts, they're not popping up on my StreamYard, but I do have the feed open on my phone, so I will try and keep an eye on
Okay,
comments. And when
that's
new stuff
cool.
pops up, I will let people know that you're commenting along, and I will name drop. So
I know
Excellent.
Josh shared it, and I can see that, but I can't see it on your page or anything at the movies. I don't know what's going on, but
Yeah,
I'm
I'm not
glad you
sure
can
what's
see it.
happening,
yeah,
but I'm glad it's working.
I found it on my page, and I found it on the.
Hmm.
I don't know if it went up
Because it just
on.
says it's not available when you share it. It's weird.
It didn't get posted because I can only post it on two spots.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, that might be the reason.
Why do you
Because
try to post it to more? I don't know. Technology is weird. Whatever.
fuck it. But so
Oh yeah, because it's coming up for me, but it says that it's limited on who. I don't know. Either way, it's you're working it out, which is great.
either way, we're having fun, and
Absolutely.
the comments are there. So if I don't see them, we can always check the feed after the episode and um, respond to people there too as well. So other than the obvious being the definite change, well, that comes more later in the franchise. But was there something about this movie that either of the two of you guys didn't particularly care for?
Um, I mean, it felt a little like cheesy, like mass production, like, weak. It felt a little weak to me, I will say. Not because I didn't know how much the franchise was going to grow. I was kind of like, yeah, this is a cool movie, but it's not like, you know, that great. But then now, after seeing like other movies in the franchise, not all of them, but a few of them, and then going back and watching the original one, and you kind of know what's going to happen later, I think that makes it a little bit better for me. Um, and I don't know, Vince was a complete douche-tard.
Oh yeah.
He did have Brian's number though from day one. I will give him that.
Hmm.
I will give him that. But other than that, he was such an asshole. How
Yeah,
did
he
that
was
Why'd
dog?
you
exactly
bring the Buster back?
the buster.
Like,
You
hey
know what?
Vince,
He
what's
was
that?
doing
What's
it.
that Cuban place you've been wanting to take me to? It's like, Brian, you can take me.
Yo, and that Cuban place, Cha Cha Cha, is a real place. They have a Cha Cha Cha. They have a few out here in Portland, but they're Mexican food places. But
Mm.
apparently in LA, and they have one in San Francisco, there's a Cha 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 Cuban restaurant, and that's the actual restaurant they're at.
Oh,
Little
nice.
factoid my mom told me about before I came on.
Very nice.
For me, I love this movie. It is cheesy, but that's one of the things I like about it is that it has that cheesy '90s action movie kind of feel.
Yeah.
And some of the dialogue is just it's cheesy but good, and some of the dialogue is cheesy but terrible. Like the "I Smell Skanks" one, that's on the
Yeah.
terrible side. The cheesy but good, there's a few of them like I love when he Dom's like, "You can have any beer in this house you want as long as it's a Corona." you
Yeah.
know,
That
Like,
was
that
but
one's
Vince's.
Vincent, so really enjoy it.
yeah, yeah. you know, but one
Um,
thing I do wish this movie had did a little bit more that eventually we get is I wish it would have fleshed out some of the extra characters. Like I feel like Michelle Rodriguez is just criminally underutilized in this movie compared to what we know now that she's able to do. Which I get. You only have so much room for stuff. Um,
you don't get a
you
lot
know,
of Vince. You don't get a lot of even Jesse and Michelle Rodriguez or
Yeah,
Leon.
yeah,
you
you
get a
don't get a
lot more
lot of
of Letty
Leon.
later, so.
Yeah, we do get
Well,
a lot Letty later. We do get a lot more Jordana Brewster's Mia later.
I love
Um,
her.
oh, she's fantastic. She's great in this movie too. I was just, funny enough, the original person they wanted to cast as Mia was Elijah Dushku, and then after that,
Ew.
they offered it to Buffy herself. Uh, why am I drawing a blank on her
Sarah
name?
Michelle Gellar
Sarah
Sarah
or just
Michelle
Michelle
Gellar.
Gellar.
someone?
Yeah, they
Okay.
offered it to Sarah Michelle Gellar and a couple of other young and upcoming actresses before deciding on Jordana, um,
So
which I found
That,
just hilarious that we
well,
could
that
have had
was also
Elijah
getting
Dushku. Um,
about to that point where Sarah Michelle was working on wrapping up Buffy and rapidly approaching her quote unquote sabbatical from Hollywood that she's
yeah,
been
no,
on
I
for a
think it
while.
worked out. I'm so glad we got Jordana instead of Elijah or even
yeah.
Sarah Michelle. We almost
I
had
mean,
instead of Paul Walker, we almost had Eminem. Before they offered
No.
Paul Walker the
it,
role, they offered it to Eminem, but he was doing 8 Mile, so he said no.
8 Mile's fantastic, but he couldn't have done this role. He's not. He doesn't have the. Oh shit! Sorry. He does not have that down home like American good boy charm that Brian has, or that Paul Walker has. I mean, Paul Walker has that, and he brings it to every role, and that's part of what makes him so believable and so easy to like relate to and like and want to root for. And it's just
that's
watching, like I said, watching him in Varsity Blues, like that's just kind of what I pictured Paul Walker as a young guy. As he gotten
I
older
was
and
just say
racing cars and whatever, I was like, oh yeah, that's hot. But
that's
it just
exactly what made Lance Harbor so relatable was he's
right.
like that star quarterback down home all American
He was the
homie that
definition of a Texas high school football player. Like a fucking
yeah.
religion over here.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better. Like, I don't think Eminem would have been believable playing the cop, and I don't think he would have been as likable. Like, the reason we all liked him was Brian had that charm. Like,
Yeah.
he had that charismatic down home. I'm a good guy, but there's just enough there that you can see him kind of being the bad boy, that
Hmm.
worked, kind of like Keanu in Point Break, like,
Hmm.
yeah, I don't
Well, they
think
both
so.
have that inner struggle of I like these people, and now I have to arrest them or kill them, and it's like I don't want to. I like these people. I want to be part of this group.
Yeah.
Right. And then Timothy Oliphant, he was considered for Dom.
Okay, I
No.
adore him. I couldn't see that either.
Yeah, yeah, they wanted him.
No.
They
Yeah.
He's not
offered it to
gangster
him.
enough.
He turned it down because he had just did Gone in 60 Seconds before
Mm.
that, and he didn't want to get typecast. And he also thought the premise sounded stupid.
Well, he
Wait, you're
sounds
saying
kind
they
of
considered
stupid.
Timothy Oliphant for Dom or for Brian?
No, for Dom. He was
Oh,
supposed to
yeah,
play
no,
Dominic Toretto. Yeah, and I'm just
no.
like, I can't imagine any. That's how well Vin Diesel did, though. I can't imagine anybody else in that role.
And you have to
No, I
have
mean
the big, seemingly himbo, muscular guy in that role to be intimidating and be believable.
yeah. No, I mean I remember watching the movie for the first time and the first time you see Vin Diesel at the sandwich shop,
Hmm.
it he feels exactly like you would imagine Dom being.
Hmm.
Right,
He's
right. There's like this almost
he's got
heat
kind of
that
like
comes off
that
of him.
gritty Godfather type presence.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I feel like if you don't believe Dom could kill you with his thumb, he's not
Yeah.
believable. So whoever you cast in that role, you have to believe this guy could kill you instantly. And that
Well, no,
scene where they're with Brian on the roof and he's like, Brian, this is the time where you got to think really hard. And he's like, he actually scared me. Like he gave me chills because I was like, oh my God, he could really fucking kill him right now. I know he's not
Hmm.
going to because that would ruin the movie, but like that intensity was very like, you know,
well, no,
like
it's
it
like
gave me chills.
it's like Buffalo Bill said though when he finally, you know, laid it all out on the line for him at the undercover surveillance place. He's like, it's always been Toretto,
Always, yeah.
you know, it because Brian wasn't believing that Dom could do it. Yeah, well,
He didn't want to.
look at what he did to the one driver.
Well, I think that's the scene where Brian really was like, okay, blinders off. This has to be him because up until then, what do you keep saying? He was like, no, he's too controlled for this. And they
Yeah,
kept telling him, like, no, he beat this guy to the point where the guy can't walk. And he's like, nah, it's not him. And when he watches him
what the
lose
fuck
his
it
cool,
wasn't.
he realizes, okay, this is him.
Yeah. You
But no, I
to
mean,
pull off
it
those
took a while.
cards, you have to be controlled. But
Yeah,
yeah. So I was sorry, going back to Jordana Brewster for a second.
yes,
I
please.
saw her before this movie. She was, and she actually went on to be on the remake of Dallas, which I thought was
Yeah, she
Oh,
cool.
did.
really? Cool.
She did a
But
very good job in that too.
she did.
She's one of
She
the
was,
reasons why I was pissed off that that show got canceled.
I mean,
The other one, the
she's
other one
so
actually
good.
legitimately being Josh Henderson.
Mm.
But crap, sorry, fucking traffic.
What?
Um,
Oh, that was just sound effects, because Fast
yeah.
and
Oh
Furious.
yeah, it's Fast and Furious. It's our background noise. I saw her
Fort
on
Worth Drift.
exactly. Saw her on a mini series, and I think it was a VH1 series, but I can't say with 100% certainty. But it was called The 70s, and it was like a 4-part mini series, and
Hmm.
I fell in
Oh.
love with her in that. And a lot of people hadn't seen it, but I was like, I really want to see her do more stuff. Like I just really, really loved her. So I was really happy she got cast in this movie and this franchise because I feel like not that she's done a bunch of other like serious roles or anything, but I felt like she was a good actress and she deserved to, you know, get some good work because she was really good. If you could ever find that miniseries, and especially if you're interested in the 70s at all, it's very cool.
Yeah, no, I will have to look that up because I liked her because she was in Chuck, very limited role in Chuck, but she had like
Yeah,
a 3 or 4 episode stint in Chuck, and then she was on the show Lethal Weapon when they made the Lethal Weapon TV show,
Yeah.
which
I
ended up
never
being
watched
very
that.
good. I was really disappointed that both actors just messed it up, and yeah, they had to stop doing that show. But
It
yeah,
sucks.
she's fantastic. Another
Yes.
fun fact, both her and Michelle Rodriguez did not even have their license when they got casted and had to go to driver school and get their license to film their car scenes.
I mean, they were both in their 20s at least, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but how old was Josh when he got his?
That's fair.
Right. True.
My
And they
daughter's turning 20 next month and she doesn't have her license, but kids now are different, y'all. They really are. Like Abby not having hers now is weird, but when all her friends and her were turning 16, like a lot of them were like very just apathetic about it. And
well,
I don't blame
honestly, I get now because now you have Lyft, you have Uber, you know,
you still gotta pay
but
for that shit.
you still gotta pay for it, yeah. But I get why kids are like, oh, I don't want the hassle. Like my kid complains all the time. Anytime I bring up like you need to save money or you gonna pay for that, he's like, man, I have bills. You know how expensive car insurance is?
Yes, I do because I was a 18-year-old man. Well, you don't, but like,
Well,
Oh
I
no, I get it. So when
but
I
yeah,
finally did get my license, I had just got out of Job Corps. I stayed with my mom briefly for a bit. And her insurance was like, "Oh, he's staying with you now, so your insurance is going to go up this much," and it was like a good $1,000 or so.
yep,
And she was like, "No, he's not. He won't drive my car." Like, okay, we'll have him sign this document along with yourself saying that he won't drive your car. And my mom made me sign that real quick.
yeah,
Insurance is no joke,
it's not.
but you have to have it.
Can we
it's one
like
of
this
those
is
ones that you don't want to get caught driving without it too. I don't
Oh,
know about
not at
elsewhere,
all.
but it's like a 600. It's like a $600 ticket in Washington.
well, it depends on where you live because I don't know where else it's like this. I just know for sure New Mexico, they require you to carry uninsured motorist coverage because about 50% of their population doesn't carry car insurance.
Yeah, that makes
It's
sense.
insane.
I would say like New Mexico, anywhere in South Cal,
Yeah.
anywhere where you're close to the border where that might be the case.
I mean, I will fucking totally trash on my home state. If you got fucking insurance, you better fucking have uninsured motorists too, because a good
Yeah.
probably at least half the population doesn't have fucking car insurance, and that's the last thing you want is to get in a fender bender and not be able to get your shit fixed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, Casey, I know you're probably ready to move on to another question or we're getting close to the end, but I'm sorry, I have to
You're good.
talk for a second. So, what one of my favorite things that happens later in the franchise is that we get Ludacris. Oh my god, that man is so fucking fine, and he's actually a good actor. And when you see him all cleaned up, I'm like, oh. But can we talk about Ja Rule for a minute? That boy
Yes.
worked so hard for like 5 minutes just to get like what four of his songs in this movie.
Well, do you know the full story about Ja Rule in this franchise?
No, I just know that when he takes off his car, he said something from one of his songs. And then I'm like, okay, there's a Ja Rule, and he's like, Monica. Is that Monica?
Monica. Yeah, Monica Menage.
You Menage. That was it. That was it.
Yeah, no, he does Menage, and then later he says Monica when she leaves him. So, funny story.
I just remember Menage from one of the songs.
If Ja Rule had decided to do different, we would have had him instead of Luda. So, Ja Rule was actually offered a starring role in the second movie
Okay.
alongside Tyrese and Paul Walker.
Wow.
And at the time, he looked at what they're offering, which was about 500,000. And he's like, "Look, I can go do one concert to make 1 million," and he turned it down. But yeah, originally, and then that's why then we're going with Ludacris instead of him. And so there's a really good article out there where he talks about the situation and like, do you ever regret knowing what it became? He's like, I had no way to know what it became, but
Yeah.
even if I made all
No one
those
ever
movies, I
does.
wouldn't have made as much money as I made at the time, which I respect.
Yeah.
And I'm honestly kind of glad because Luda did way better. I can't see
Yeah,
Ja
he
Rule
did.
playing that nerdy computer hacker role that Luda played.
But also still so suave and like cleaned up and just like whatever. Ja Rule is a little too edgy for that, I think. And yeah, his music career at the time, everything was Ja Rule. Ja Rule and
Oh,
J
yeah.
Lo, Ja Rule and Ashanti, like just Ja Rule was fucking everywhere in the early 2000s.
Yes, he was. That man was making that money.
Yeah, he was. But like
Funny
he got a
though,
lot of songs in the movie, so he got his 10 minutes of work
yeah,
made
that
him.
soundtrack had him all over
Fantastic.
it. And we do get a cameo from Luda up in the movie because in the party scene they're
Yeah,
playing area codes. I was like,
I
oh,
remember.
Luda.
I got hose. Such a good song.
So
No, I Ludacris is one of my favorite additions to the franchise.
Yeah.
you're
Now that
you're all right.
scene is great.
I was just gonna say you guys are all right though about the whole. He didn't know how big this shit was because, and we'll get into it obviously further on into the franchise when we get into the box office numbers. But like, even if you want to grab at like the last three movies that came out, I can guarantee you they made a lot more fucking money in the box office than $207.3 million that this movie made.
Well, I'm sure they
Right,
cost
right.
a lot
I
more
kind of
than
feel
$80 million or $50 million to make too.
right. And I kind of feel like if you're in that position where you turn down it and you're like, you kind of gotta be like, yeah, no, I don't regret it because if you live with that regret, like it's gonna be tough. I mean, it's like Johnny Strong who played Leon. He's a
Yeah,
musician and he did a lot of serious stuff before this. So when the first movie got done, he went on to film his next thing. Matter of fact, I think it was Black Hawk Down actually. That
Mm,
he filmed after this.
yeah,
Matter of fact, to
maybe.
the point where he didn't even make it to the premiere. He didn't see the movie
I'm gonna be
until he
so
got
good.
back. Um,
Crap,
and
that's
that's
great.
kind of why he's never really came back. So he's like, I would maybe come back, but it has to be something huge. Like it has to make
Yeah,
sense and it has to be a big deal for me to come back. I'm really, really hoping though,
I'm coming.
because this last movie is supposed to take place, it's supposed to bring everything back to LA. So I'm hoping he shows up at some point, even if it's a cameo, just to bring a full circle. Because we got Vince, they can't bring Jesse back. Letty came
yeah.
back. You know, so
It would be fitting if this is going to be the end of the franchise to find some way to get everybody, obviously minus Paul Walker, back
right.
for one last run.
Oh
Is
yeah,
it
I would love that.
is it six where I mix them up? I know it's not seven. Is it five or six where you think Letty's dead and then you find out she's alive and she's working with Brian? That scene is also so fucking amazing. When the phone rings and Brian answers it and Dom realizes because he's calling
I
Letty's phone,
I
like
think
just to
it's the
hear her
end.
voice.
I think it's the end credit scene in four.
It's not an end credit scene. It's like in the
No,
middle of the
it's
movie.
yeah, I believe it's the end credit scene in 5 actually.
Wait, that we find out she's alive?
No, 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 it is the end credits in 4 because that was the whole thing where he finds out that she was working with Brian and then she dies after that, right?
No, but the scene I'm talking about is like in the middle of a move in the movie. It's like Brian and Dom and Mia,
Uh-huh.
and Dom still thinks Letty is dead, and he calls her cell phone, I think, just to like hear her voice.
Oh, so the
And the
one where
phone rings,
she
it's
has
in
the
Brian's pocket.
amnesia.
Yeah, she had amnesia, but at that point, he still thought she was dead. I thought that scene was so good.
Got
I thought
you.
Brian was going to kill him, or that
Uh,
That
Dom was
would
going to kill
be
him.
6, I believe. But yeah.
Yeah, because at that point too, isn't that he's already been with the other lady and they've had a baby?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. See, I get them all confused, but when Letty had amnesia, I thought those scenes were good when he was like trying to like
Well, 6 technically. Dang man, now I'm all. Yeah,
I'm
I
telling you,
get
they're
mixed up
almost
around
done.
that time because I know it's 7. Dang, I can't remember which one it is. When she dies because they're not together when he gets back with Letty, and then he doesn't find out about the kid until the one where he goes evil. Uh, well, he doesn't go evil, but he starts working for Cipher, and that's 8. Yeah, so it's 7 or 8 because 7's the one where Deckard comes after him. So yeah, that would have been 6. It would have been
That's the
6. Yeah.
okay.
there's a
Because
whole lot of storyline
did
for
they
us to
get
cover.
married in the end of one of them, and then I can't remember.
Well, and you gotta also throw in there's Banditos, which is a short film before 4, where they get married in the film, him and Letty. Or maybe I'm
No.
thinking of a different one. Did they get married in Banditos? I don't
Mm,
know. There's a lot of stuff.
they they do get married on one of them.
Yeah, I know they get married officially. I
Okay,
think
it's
again.
Fast Five where they find out she's still alive.
Yeah,
Anyway,
the end of Fast 5, right? They find out she's still alive.
Yeah, because I think the funeral was the whole point of earlier, and then you
Yeah,
get
because the end of Fast 5 has the tagline or the tag where Hobbs comes up and it's the girl from number 2 that was working with the feds that's like, check this out. And then she opens the file and you see it's Letty and a picture of her. And that's how you find out she's still alive. And then the scene you're talking about, I
yeah,
think it's in the middle of number 6.
yeah, where he finds out that she's working with Brian, and then Brian knows where she
Right.
is and all that stuff. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, it's a lot going on.
Yeah, there's a lot. But that's the thing
There
that's the
definitely,
craziest part. It's like watching this movie, it's such a small scale thing. And even though it kind of leaves the door open for like sequels, nobody expected to become this spy, globe hopping, heist type movie that it is now with, going to space in Pintos, out racing submarines, basically bungee jumping in a car, parachuting
Going
in
to Abu
cars.
Dhabi and driving through 10
Oh,
buildings.
I
Is
love
it
that
Dubai or
scene
Abu
where they're
Dhabi? I don't
driving
know.
out
But
that. Oh,
shit's so unbelievable, but it was really cool.
well, and that's it. Like, if they become a like side version of a superhero movie,
Yeah.
because it really does cause you to spin your belief. Because, I mean, let's be real. Nobody's going to be like flex and break their cast off their arm, or
Yeah.
stomp on the top of a parking garage and make it crumble and the guy fall to his like it's just unrealistic, but
Or
it's cool as
drive
shit.
off the 100th story of a building into the next building, into the next building until you stop and barely fall off the cliff.
Yeah.
That gave me anxiety, though, I will say. Watching them get to the end of each thing, like going into the next, that gave me a lot of anxiety because I have a big fear of those kind of heights.
Absolutely.
We'll have to talk about Fast. Is that a 7 or 6? I don't know which one. And then that's the one with Ronda Rousey and Michelle Rodriguez and their fight. That's one
Yeah.
of my favorite fight scenes ever. I know why you guys like it, but it's one of my favorite fight scenes in a movie ever. It's so amazing. Women fighting in ball gowns, and they're badass.
Oh, you know what? I will send you a link to a badass female fighting movie that I absolutely love because I love martial arts movies and fighting movies. And there's one specifically made to honor the movie Bloodsport, but it's a
Hmm,
female version, and the main
interesting.
character is an actual stunt actor. And so it's really well done. The story's good, and the fight scenes are amazing. So
That's
I'll
cool.
send you a link later. It's called Lady Bloodsport,
Huh.
and it pays homage to Bloodsport.
Damn.
Yeah, it's hella
All right.
good.
I definitely am interested in seeing that now.
Yeah.
So, because I know one of us has birthday dinner plans, I don't want to cut things too short, but I don't want to have him rushed for getting to dinner on time. So,
Yeah, I probably got like another 15, maybe 20 minutes, but then I have to get going.
yeah. So, why don't we just go ahead and fast forward to everybody getting a chance to speak their piece and give their overall review of the movie. I feel like we've covered a good portion of why we love and hate the movie,
Absolutely.
but
Anything, Casey, that you wanted to say that we left out, or that we, because I know we
Yeah,
talked a lot.
no,
yeah.
no, I totally am on board with everything that you guys said about the movie. Um, it's probably my most favorite movie in the franchise, just for the pure fact, like you guys were saying, it really focuses on that core theme of family and building trust together. Because at the end of the day, maybe they didn't necessarily know in 2001 exactly what this movie was gonna, what all this franchise was gonna build into.
Yeah.
Let alone the fact that there's what, another 10 or 11 movies after that one to begin with. So I really thought the young untapped talent in the movie did a fantastic job of carrying the movie and
Yeah.
bringing us into that world. So I personally will give it 4.5 out of 5 cans of Nos.
Nice.
So, birthday boy, would you like to go next?
I sure would. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, it's to this day one of my top favorite movies. I love the franchise, even though I will be the first to admit it's not perfect. I wish they would focus a little bit more on the cars again. I'm kind of hoping they do that on the next movie. But that's why I love this one is to focus on the cars. I love the cinematography, the way they make you feel the speed when they're
Hmm.
racing. Yeah, it has its corny moments, but it also has great moments. But I think we've all agreed the family stuff, that's the best parts. Like some of my favorite scenes are the scenes of when he kind of becomes part of the family and they're at the party or they're having the barbecue in the backyard and he makes them say a prayer and he
Hmm.
starts thanking God about these cars and car parts. Or even when they show them like getting the auto parts and putting together the car and everything, like I love that part.
Well, my
And
favorite is like Jesse reaching in for the chicken. He's like, "Ah, you're the first one to reach in for the chicken.
Now you got to say grace.
Now you have to say the grace."
absolutely right, exactly. Yeah, and it's an overall good movie. Fun, fantastic action scenes, especially the climatic last race that they had towards the
Hmm.
train, and that final scene of him being like, "I owe you a 10-second car.
Yep.
Are you sure you know what this means?" Like, oh
Oh.
man, yeah, it was fantastic. It was just like, man, respect. So
Yeah.
for me, it's definitely a 4.5 out of 5 cans of Nas.
Nice. I mean, yeah, I agree with what you guys said. I think this movie like really encapsulates just like the early 2000s. Like it's so um just like representative of that time. And like you were talking about how they make you feel the speed. I'm glad they get better with that, because those scenes where that first scene where Brian's doing the street race and then it's all like blurry and like he's got the nos. I'm like, come on, y'all. But I can't get too mad about it. Ooh. See, I have one of them on in the background, and I don't even know which one it is, but I know the evil guy's name because I remember them. Braga. Is it Braga or
Oh yeah,
Draga?
that's number 5. If it's Braga.
I always think it's Draga because I mixed it up with Rocky, but I love how they think it's the old guy and then it's really the. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, off track. I just looked up
No,
and I
no,
saw
for
him and I was
sure.
like, oh, I recognize that guy. God, Paul Walker was so hot. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna cry.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, it's a really fun movie. They do get better, and there's a lot of movies where they don't know what they have in the first movie. Not comparing these movies at all, but if you were to watch the Twilight series, you can tell in the first movie they had no idea how big that shit was going to be because those movies get exponentially better as they go along because they have more money. I
True.
would say this is a little different, but I think the more money they make and the bigger like actors and stuff they get, like the movies get a lot more intense. But um damn it, sorry. I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5 tuna sandwiches with no crust.
I love it. Right on, right on.
Ah,
I love the tuna sandwiches. No one loves the tuna sandwiches.
Yeah, I'm gonna enjoy it while it lasts because I can imagine about 10 years from now, we're gonna be getting the Fast and the Furious limited remake TV show on Net Hulu Max.
Right?
because
Which
all the streaming services will all be
I'll
combined
bitch
into
about,
one
but I'll
by then.
watch it.
Right. I think that would be a weird thing to make into a series just because it's like I mean, clearly they've made 27 movies. It's sustainable, but I really don't think it's sustainable. You know what I mean? Like
I agree, and that's why I said it because you be
it's not
seeing
a
them make
sustainable
stuff in a
plot line,
series, and you're like, who thought that'd be a good idea for a series? Can't you just give me like 2 or 3 like mini movies
right?
instead?
Well, it's like when they came out with Manifest. I was like, how the hell are they going to make Manifest into a show? Or
Hmm.
even Lost. I felt that way about Lost. Lost did a better job, Manifest not so much, but it's like they're good ideas, but how do you think you're going to stretch that beyond 1 or 2 seasons? Like you can't.
Very true.
Oh, but they can. Might not be good, but they can.
They're not. I'm
No,
trying.
exactly. So this was obviously a whole lot of fun, and we can't wrap up the episode as always without thanking the fans for being here each and every week.
Yes.
You guys are awesome.
Yay.
Definitely a huge shout out to the 20, almost 30 people that have been here the whole just over an hour with us enjoying the ride.
Hey, we
So
appreciate you.
very much
They
so.
love my beautiful face.
This is probably one of the most watched live episodes that we've done.
Nice.
So
Nice.
there is that caveat as well. For those of you who may not know, because I don't think we've necessarily addressed it yet on the show, but we are currently keeping track of shows and what they're doing, listen and watch wise. So at the end of each year, when we have our anniversary episode in February, we will be um, making the most watched and most listened to episodes of the year, iconic episodes, and making them an evening at the movies icons as well. So you guys can go back in time and watch all of your all the past episodes, stay current on the current stuff as well, and find some classic episodes that you would like to see make iconic episodes and get people to watch and get the numbers up, and we will be making all of your favorite episodes iconic here in the near future as well.
It's
So
awesome.
before we go, obviously, like I said, thank you to the fans for being here each and every week. Most importantly, though, we cannot end this episode without one more happy birthday wish to Josh, the birthday boy. I hope you had an amazing 57th birthday.
I'm only 39, but
I'm
still 57 at times.
gonna say,
I feel
I'm in
like
that.
7 at times.
Harvey and I are in, and Amanda as well, because Amanda goes on vacation and she breaks something. But
And those things require surgery, so you can't make fun of me now.
Ugh.
no, I feel bad for joking about it now. So
It's all right.
Don't feel
Next year,
bad, but
when
y'all
we go to
did jinx me.
Louisiana, we'll wrap you in bubble wrap.
I, I was gonna say I feel bad that Chancey and I put a curse on you, but
Yeah, y'all cursed me, and now I'm lined up for 2 surgeries. So thanks.
Oof.
Damn.
They'll rebuild it bigger and better.
Well, the problem is I'm always home alone now. So it's like one surgery is on my right hand and one's on my left ankle. And it's like I can't have them at the same time. I won't even be able to do anything. I'm already thinking about not being able to be weight bearing for like 3 or 4 weeks. And I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm here
You
alone.
know,
I'm going to let my dog out 17 times a day.
And then you're gonna have PT to go on top of that.
Yeah.
maybe you could
So
fly Casey or Shanna down come take care of you.
Well, they have jobs.
Oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Now you
Yeah,
get.
I know.
I mean,
Well, Shanna works remote.
I am a professional caregiver,
Yeah,
but
yeah. I'm stressing
I'm
out
not
about what I'm going to do about that.
I'm
But
not doing all the things that are required of a caregiver. You can handle some of that on your own.
yeah.
Just saying. We're not going into details, but I'm not. There's a line. I'll stay on this side. I'm not crossing over onto this side.
Yeah, non weight bearing means I need help in and out of the shower. I'm just going to say that now because that's what happened on the vacation. So, no.
I I will not cross that line.
Yeah, I'm good.
When it
Anyway,
gets to
Love you,
that point, I'm
Blobster,
sure you'll get some
but
help.
what, Josh?
any
Yeah, I'm
any
sure when it gets to that point, you'll be able to find some help, even if you gotta call Papa Pals.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few people I could probably call if it gets desperate. So,
There you go.
Gene.
no, she's too far away. I'll call local people, but I don't have that many, but I have a few. So, anyway,
So
thanks for
before
listening.
we jump out of here, does anybody have anything coming up on their stuff that they would like to shamelessly plug?
I actually do. So, for those of you who know, and those of you who may not know, I host the incredible cartoon podcast called Toontastic Journeys. Me, along with my co host CJ, we've been on a bit of a hiatus. However, that's ending. And on the 8th of this month, so I believe that is coming up very soon, next Saturday, I want to say.
Yep.
We'll be dropping our first episode in like a month. We'll be doing Batman, the animated series, and talking about the
Nice.
good parts and the bad parts and all the in between. I mean, there's not that many bad parts. It's pretty damn amazing. But we'll be having a good time doing it in the style that you have come to love from me and CJ. So keep an eye out from that. Also, the Masturbators Bracket Review Show is back up and running. So keep an eye out on Fridays. We have been putting some episodes out. And last but not least, without going into a bunch of detail, I have a couple of really interesting shows coming up that I am going to be part of. They're going to be talking about the culture and some things having to do with the culture. So stay tuned. There will be more announcements forthcoming.
Very nice. When you say
Co-host?
the culture, I'm assuming you mean black culture?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Or do you
yeah.
mean
Black
cartoon
culture.
culture?
No, black culture.
Or do you mean guys that
Um,
wear glasses culture?
yeah, black culture and a little bit of men's culture, but
Nice.
yeah, thanks for asking to clarify that. I wasn't
I
too about
mean, there's a lot of culture, and I figured, but I
I
didn't
have
make
all the culture.
assumptions.
it. I appreciate it.
Hey, look, Luca's on my TV right now.
What's
Fuck
Luca doing?
Luca. I,
Is he
I
drinking another beer and having it taken away?
I'm sorry. I just don't think like I get that he is a really great athlete, but I am so tired of these whiny ass crybaby bitches constantly whining, and their behavior is just rewarded. Like I, LeBron, not taking anything away from him as a player, but he'll never be as good as Jordan. But not taking anything away from him as a player, just shut your fucking mouth. Stop whining about every little thing that doesn't go your way. And Luca is the same. It's like Dirk taught him everything he knew, and then Luca said, "Hold my beer. Let me elevate this a little bit." Like, just shut up. Okay, sorry.
All right, y'all. So, if you're an NBA player, don't be bitching too much because the man are going to come for that neck.
Yeah, like come on. Ugh. Anyway, the sip list is also still on hiatus. We did just drop an episode. It was a special draft episode of a review of Taylor Swift's Tortured Poets Department, and we drafted our 6 favorite songs, fantasy style. So 3 of us, and we each have 6 different songs, and we kind of discuss the album at length. So if you're interested, go check that out. And other than that, I don't really know what I have coming up. So
Oh,
Didn't
and the
didn't
network
you just
drafts are
do?
back too.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that because
Okay, sorry,
not
Casey.
not only not only is the network drafts back, but guess what else is back for this week's draft episode? Bam!
Guess who's back? Back again.
Casey's back to win
Yeah,
again.
you picked a fun episode to do because we
I
were
know, but
we're about to have some fun, man.
we're so this week's draft topics are music video remakes recast with the Muppets and celebrity deathmatch. Each network opponent or each network member up against a celebrity claymation style, like the old Celebrity Deathmatch TV show. So
What a
if you're
weapon of your
interested,
choice.
this is going to be an interesting fucking episode. I can get if you like shenanigans, I highly recommend mend, recommend being there tomorrow night live and watching because we're going to have some fun. We're going to talk some shit, and not going to lie, there may be some hurt feelings because I have plans in the back of my head. And as soon as the draft order gets revealed, God, I hope nobody fucking in front of me steals my damn.
Oh man, this is gonna be great.
Because there's one particular person in this episode who I really want to break her heart.
You pick Kevin Durant for me, and I will stab you in the throat.
You're not thinking work enough.
Actually, no, I'll kill
I
him.
think I think me and you are on the same page, Casey. So one of us is gonna get it.
Um,
Anyway, have a good time at the meat orgy.
Hey, I'm gonna be eating all the meat. I will eat some for both of y'all.
Please do.
so really quick before I hit end episode, just wanted to let everybody know that the next three episodes of An Evening at the Movies will be the next episode will release on Saturday. There will not be a new episode on Wednesday this week. This episode is going to drop immediately as soon as I hit end
Nice.
stream. And then Saturday, we will be releasing our 40th anniversary celebration for one of the greatest movies of all time. So,
Ba-na-na-na-na.
who you going to call?
Ba-na-na-na.
And then after that, we're doing a horror movie about bees that
Ooh,
Amanda's already watched and prepared for when she was supposed to be watching The Lawnmower Man.
yeah.
And then after that, we have a request from, well, one of the requests from one of our loyal, longtime, devoted members of the Dozens. But Brandy herself has requested Short Circuit.
Nice.
So
Johnny
number five
Five.
will be alive on An Evening at the Movies in about 3 weeks. So stay tuned for all of that.
I'm
And
glad they learned from Howard the Duck and didn't go into robot human sex like duck human sex.
right, I mean, I felt like it almost came close at times, but we'll get into that discussion when we get to Short Circuit. The only other thing I know for sure that's coming up is the first week of July, because well, it might be the second week of July when the episode releases, but 4th of July weekend is the release of a little sequel on Netflix called Beverly Hills Cop 4, or Beverly Hills Cop, quote unquote, Axel F, and we'll be discussing that next month as well. So stay tuned for all of that. We are here each and every week. As you guys know, every Wednesday we're dropping episodes except for this week. So stay tuned, stay loyal, and we will see you guys next week. And Amanda, take us home.
Thanks for watching and listening, and we hope you enjoyed it, and we hope you all come back for an evening at the movies. Happy birthday, Josh!
Thank you. Thanks for having me on, Casey. I had a blast doing this. Thanks for listening to us talk about my favorite movie. I know we got a little off topic here and there, but it
Yeah,
was
Eh,
fun.
that's what we
we're
do.
good.
That's what we
It,
do.
we're pros. So see you guys next week.
All
Peace.
right. See you
Bye.
guys tomorrow. All right.